Greetings everyone, this is Sai Pushpak from PNNL. Today I'm going to talk about our recent work on data-driven based attack identification in cyber physical systems using Koopman mode decomposition. So let me begin with a higher level overview of the cyber physical system here. The power system forms the physical part of the cyber physical system. On top of the physical layer, there will be a sensor layer consisting of PMU or SCADA sensors, continuously relaying the information from the physical layer to the control center via the communication channel. And the control center uses the same communication channel to process these measurements from the physical system and generate appropriate set points that goes back into the physical system. So now we can see this for successful operation of this closed loop system, the communication channel that connects the control layer and the sensor physical layer, it plays a very crucial role. So naturally, it is also vulnerable to any disgruntled employers or hackers. So these are the four different types of broadly classified attacks that could happen on the communication channel while passing on this PMU measurements or while the set points are being sent from the control center to the physical layer. So in this work, our primary objective is to detect those attacks that are introduced by an adversary in the communication channel. So there are certain works that currently deal with this kind of attack detection strategies. And one such one is based on physics-based models coupled with the dynamic state estimators. And the other one is actually based on directly data. So it performs some statistical analysis such as a QSUM test directly on the measurements to identify the attack signatures. So there are recently developed machine learning based methods as well to identify these attack signatures. So if you look at the drawbacks, so the obtaining a physics-based model for a given configuration of the power network is a challenge. Moreover, additional challenge comes in the form of unforeseen changes and inaccurate estimates during transients. Moreover, for machine learning based methods, it is difficult to obtain a lot of training data, and it is also not so easy to obtain computational resources to train those machine learning models to identify any attack signatures. Our work kind of overcomes these drawbacks. So applying the proposed attack identification strategy, we can identify as well as locate the attacks in the near real time coming from the PMU data. And we don't need any knowledge of the physics-based models, and there is no training involved or any need of computational resources here. So let me briefly describe the impact of attack and why it is important to detect the attack in advance. So if we look at this top left block diagram, this is a closed loop system representing the power system with the AGC control action. So the left side part of the block diagram forms the power system dynamics, and from the power system, we are measuring these YK measurements. And these measurements are sent to the control center, and the control action UK is actually a function of the measurements coming from the power network. So whereas if there is an attack on the communication channel where the measurements are being sent to the control center, so then the attacker can modify the actual measurements, and the measurements seen at the controller will be YK tilde, which is a modified version of the actual measurements YK. So now this corrupts the actual measurements, and the control set points generated by the control center are not accurate anymore. In fact, they are function of the attacker action. And again, our objective is to actually detect the presence of these attacks and provide and one can then design any mitigation strategy to overcome this entire situation. Okay, so let me give a higher level overview of the entire proposed multi-step attack identification algorithm. There are several steps here, and also there are several details. I'll give a higher level idea in this slide, and in the next few slides, I'll go over each of these steps much more in detail, and what is the role played by each step, and how we are eventually identifying these attack locations. So let's say if we are looking at a window of measurements coming from the power system, let's say this is the window that we are interested in, and one need to identify if there is an attack or there is no attack in this given window of measurements. So then what we do is we consider a sequence of measurements from the past into the history, and based on those measurements, we obtain a empirical Koopman operator, which is equivalent to a linear system representation of the underlying power system dynamics. And using this linear system representation, we could actually predict or estimate the state into the future, which is shown here. So, and the window length is actually equal to the window length that we are looking at here. So now we have the actual measurements coming from the sensors in the power network, and we also have the estimated measurements based on the Koopman operator theoretic approaches. So now we use these two to evaluate the error sequence. And on the error sequence, we do this Koopman mode decomposition so that we are transforming the data in this state space to a latent spatiotemporal modes. So here we are showing the Koopman modes corresponding to the error sequence. And these Koopman modes will contain signatures of attack or non-attacks. So now we need to split these Koopman modes in such a way that it will identify the attack nodes as well as non-attack nodes. So to achieve that, we are actually doing a spatio-temporal normalization on the Koopman modes, and then followed up with the spectral clustering. We can actually classify it into clusters where each one cluster corresponds to the attack nodes and the other cluster corresponds to the non-attack nodes. So let me go into more details regarding each of these steps in the next few slides. So we'll first start with the Koopman operator. So let's say we are receiving the real-time time series data from the sensors in the power network, and they are labeled as X1, X2 until Xn. We define a vector valued set of observables on the state space so that we are transforming the state space data into an observable space. And on the observable space, we identify the Koopman operator that maps these observables from one to other. So this is a Koopman operator, and in general, the Koopman operator is an infinite dimensional operator. So here we are considering with only a finite set of observables, and corresponding to that, we are identifying a finite dimensional approximation of the Koopman operator. So for any Koopman operator, it has a Koopman tuple where we include in the Koopman tuple the eigenvalues of the Koopman operator and the eigenfunctions of the Koopman operator and the corresponding Koopman modes. So Koopman modes is what we are interested in this work, where the signatures of the attacks are encoded in this. So let's discuss a few important points about the Koopman modes and how we compute them and what is the role played by them. So as in the previous slide, we have defined a set of finite observable functions, and also we have seen the Koopman tuple. So here is the mathematical representation relating each of the observable with the Koopman tuple. And one can see that this is a linear combination, linear combination of this Koopman tuple, and the coefficients for this linear combination are the VJs, which are actually vector variables, and these VJs are the Koopman modes that we are interested in. So associated with every Koopman mode will be an eigenvalue lambda j, and the growth rate of each of these Koopman modes and also the frequency of the Koopman modes are actually given by the magnitude and phase angle of these eigenvalues. So also one can clearly see that the eigenvalues actually are encoding the temporal signatures in the dynamics, and the second term here in this linear expansion is actually capturing the spatial signatures of the dynamics. So So to obtain this Koopman modes in real time, we apply this Arnoldi method, which actually computes the Koopman modes and the Koopman eigenvalues directly from the data. So this method has been introduced in this seminal work, which came out in 2011, and they actually applied these Koopman modes to identify the coherent group of generators in a power system. So the Koopman modes are not new to the power system area here. So now we show how these Koopman modes are capturing the spatial signatures in the data, and how we leveraging that we are identifying the attack or non-attack locations. So let's collect all the Koopman modes that we obtained from the given time series data, and let's say we stack them in this form. So each column here represents each of the Koopman modes, and the subscripts indicating 2 dimensions here. So the first dimension corresponds to the rows. So this also says that there are P buses in the underlying power system. So there are not P buses exactly, but there could be PMUs or P SCADA units, so that we are getting P observations from the physical system here. So this P corresponds to the number of observable locations on the physical system, and the column actually represents the time here. So we are looking at 1, 2 until n minus 1. So this is how we stack the Koopman modes column wise. And then we do this spatial normalization as a first step on this Koopman mode matrix, where we are normalizing each of these columns so that each Koopman mode will have equal weight. And in the next step, we are doing this temporal normalization, where we are looking at row wise of this Koopman mode matrix. And we are ensuring that each bus will have equal weight using this temporal normalization. And once we have this spatial temporal normalization performed on this Koopman mode matrix, then we look at the Kullback-Leibler distance between these buses. So we have a P dimensional bus here, or P measurements coming from the power system, and we use all these P measurements to look at the KL distance between each of those buses, which results in a weighted adjacency matrix. So then performing a K-means clustering on the weighted adjacency matrix, we can actually classify the attacked buses as well as non-attacked buses into different clusters here. So let me show how this is going to work in a test scenario, considering the IEEE 68 bus system case. So to generate this attack-based data, we developed a tool called Grid Stage, which is based on this Power System Toolbox. And the Power System Toolbox is combined with the automatic generation control in the closed loop form. And we modified the code from the Power System Toolbox so that the measurements coming from the power system emulate real-time PMU or SCADA measurements. And we are indeed feeding them into this AGC module so that this AGC action is a function of this PMU or SCADA measurements. So we also model this grid stage by incorporating an adversarial action here in the measurements communication channel between the physical system and the control. So this is where we are introducing several different types of attacks and trying to trick the AGC into taking some actions which are not necessary otherwise. So the grid stage, we made it public via GitHub, and one can download and use it to generate several different types of data sets by appropriately enabling or disabling any of these additional features. And it can be also used in any machine learning based training as well. So yeah, one can look at more details in the GitHub webpage for this, as shown here. So we use this grid stage tool to develop a novel multiplicative attack. So let me briefly describe what is the nature of the attack and why it is important to detect this kind of attacks. So here is the real-time measurements coming from the power network, and the x-axis indicates the time in seconds. So one can see that the power system is in steady state. And at second 38, we are actually introducing some load changes at a few buses on the IEEE 68 bus system. And as a result of that, there will be a certain transients and they die out. And we are also actually introducing an attack at second 39 here. And the nature of the attack is as follows. The multiplicative attack grows over time in proportion to the disturbance measured at the sensors. So as a result of this nature, one can see that the impact of the attack will be delayed. So that is what exactly we are seeing here as well. So although the attack is introduced at second 39, the impact of attack is not seen very clearly until almost second 58 or so, after which the attack actually increases with time. And at time 64th second, we are actually removing the multiplicative attack on the PMU data. So once this is removed, as we are working in a closed loop environment, these measurements are being fed to the AGC in real time. And AGC thinks that the frequencies at those buses are actually far away from the nominal value of 60 Hertz. And then it tries to take some corrective actions so that it again results in certain transients, which eventually may die out, as shown in this particular case. And the same nature of the attack can be seen on both angle and magnitude measurements as well. And here we chose to attack these buses 152, 9, and 66. And the major objective of the adversarial action here is to hide behind the transient changes that are happening in the system and cause a delayed impact of the attack on the system, so that the controller, which is AGC here, engages additional resources to stabilize the system, which is not required otherwise. So here we describe how we go about applying the method of Koopman mode decomposition to identify these attack locations. So here we are looking at the PMU data and considered a 50 measurements per second from the real-time PMU data. And as we discussed in the previous slide, so the attack locations are at bus 1, 9, 52, and 66. So the first step, we look at the history of the PMU measurements for a few seconds, and corresponding to those few seconds, we compute a Koopman operator and try to estimate these future measurements, so that we get an error sequence between the actual measurements and the predicted measurements. So which is what is sent to the Koopman mode decomposition to transform the state space data into this latent spatiotemporal modes. And the next thing we do is now we know that these Koopman modes contain signatures corresponding to the underlying natural faults or any adversarial actions. So the objective here is to do a clustering on these Koopman modes, so that we can clearly classify the attack locations as well as non-attack locations. So as we have discussed again in the previous slides, first we do a spatiotemporal normalization on the Koopman modes, and then compute the Kullback-Leibler distance to obtain a weighted adjacency matrix, followed with the spectral clustering on the weighted adjacency matrix results in these two different clusters here. So where one cluster consists of the attacked locations and the other cluster consists of these non-attacked locations. Okay, so one thing we observed applying our approach is the proposed approach actually identifies the presence of this multiplicative attack correctly in just 1 second. So that is by using just 50 measurements, we could actually identify that there is a presence of an attack in the system, and one can now go ahead by defining any mitigation strategies to trick or to mitigate this attack. So that's the basic idea here. And like I said, the computational effort for this entire approach is very minimal. The identification of Koopman operator involves taking a pseudo inverse, which is very fast for this small amount of data that we are looking into the history. And the Arnoldi method to compute Koopman modes is also really fast. And also the same method, it needs only a pseudo inverse, which is the most time consuming thing in the entire Arnoldi algorithm. Okay, so this brings me to the conclusion. So let me summarize what I have been talking in the last few minutes. So we developed a real-time data-driven based attack identification and localization algorithm using the Koopman mode decomposition and spectral clustering. So we successfully applied this proposed approach on a IEEE 68 bus system case with a novel multiplicative attack on the PMU measurements. And we could identify it in just 1 second, the presence of the attack. And to generate data, we also developed a tool called GridStage, which we can leverage to generate several adversarial-based spatiotemporal multivariate data sets. So going forward, we'd like to rigorously compare our approach with other leading approaches and also apply the proposed approach for a wider attack scenarios so that we can characterize what are the false positives and false negative rates with respect to the proposed approach. So we thank all the audience for paying attention to this talk, and also we thank the reviewers for their comments on our work. Thank you.